I think we should talk about the Ron DeSantis homophobia stuff next. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the DeSantis War Room, which produces, you know, a lot of political ads for Ron DeSantis, is part of his camp, produces a lot of content for him. It's a lot more aggressive than DeSantis himself, because DeSantis knows if he directly attacks Trump, it might sour among parts of his base to him, because, you know, they don't want to vote for anybody that directly attacks Trump. And so all the other campaigns running against Trump have instead allocated all the attack time or all the attacks to other groups around them, so they don't have to attack Trump directly, but they can have other proxies attack Trump, doing damage to Trump while protecting themselves from the ire of Trump supporters. This hasn't worked too well with this ad, though, with many people making the connection directly back to DeSantis pretty easily, especially when the whole name of the group is the DeSantis War Room. Anyway, they put out this message about Donald Trump trying to attack him for being too friendly to homosexuals. To wrap up Pride Month, let's hear from the politician who did more than any other Republican to celebrate it. Let's watch this. Now, I warn you, this video contains high amounts of like /poll message board humor, Sigma male grindset edits, and Zoomer humor of a certain variety. I don't want to. Let's just watch.
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens.
If Caitlyn Jenner were to walk into Trump Tower and want to use the bathroom, you would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses.
That is correct.
In the future, can transgender women compete in Miss Universe?
Yes.
Make America great again.
Just produced some of the harshest, most draconian laws that literally threaten trans existence.
Congratulations, Ron DeSantis. Mission accomplished. You win.
Okay, so Pete Buttigieg, this transportation secretary, former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, former candidate 2020, before he became part of Biden's administration, he was asked about this during, I think it was an MSNBC or some sort of interview. And his only response to this was, it's really weird to see an ad saying they need to go harder against gay men. Ron DeSantis will crack down hard against the gays and the LGBT community, in between pictures of oily muscle men and pictures of Ron DeSantis. It just goes from a picture of an oily muscle man before then a picture of Ron DeSantis, another oily muscle man, you know, flexing in like in a very tight swimsuit, before then another picture of Ron DeSantis. Now, besides that response from the governor, okay, before I talk about the response, I guess I should give my opinion on the ad. I guess the pitch from Ron DeSantis is, I'm more homophobic than Trump. I'm going to crack down on the gays. I'm going to crack down on the trans. I'm going to crack down on the drag and queer art performances. I'm going to crack down on it all. Look how much I make the lefty seethe. Look how much I anger LGBT people. I'm the trigger the libs option, and I will be more aggressive in dealing with the degenerates, LGBTQ plus community. That seems to be the pitch of the ad. Ron DeSantis probably didn't publish this himself on his accounts, number one, because it's a direct attack on Trump and attacking him for a ridiculous reason. Donald Trump didn't outlaw drag shows, and Donald Trump didn't go after the gays hard enough. He wasn't homophobic enough. But also, I think it's because this is unbelievably silly and ridiculous. This is unbelievably stupid. And even if the intent of having the War Room release it instead of his campaign directly was to create a dividing line between his campaign and this type of weird 4chan-y kind of like Zoomer internet humor, It failed. It failed in doing that. Not only have we seen other people like, Pete Buttigieg respond to it, but I've seen a lot of other Republicans respond to it. And specifically, something that interested me, gay Republicans. I know Brad Palumbo responded to this and he wasn't very happy with it. But one thing I wanted to point out was this article right here. I was Team DeSantis before his disgusting anti-gay ad. Raucous Dragon, thank you so much for the tier 1 being sub for 9 months. Happy America Day for everyone but Ron DeSantis. So, you know what this feels like? This feels like, well, what's that? Like leopard eating faces party. Oh my gosh, I can't believe when I voted for leopard eating faces party that they would eat my face. That is what it feels like. Ron DeSantis has been campaigning on cracking down on the woke mind virus. It seems to be the only discernible message I've gotten from his campaign so far, as somebody who hasn't been following it super closely, but more closely than I think most Americans, is that he's going against the woke mind virus, that he's cracking down on the trans, and that he's going to crack down on the border. But the woke mind virus is the number one thing you hear. And you can see it in the Don't Say Gay legislation or his rhetoric, that is getting more and more and more aggressive. And specifically the legislation that bans performances in the public sphere, which has also hurt other groups outside of like drag performance artists. By the way, there was legislation passed in Florida that makes it so that you cannot have drag performances in public. This is Ron DeSantis' legislation. He loves it. But what they didn't know is that due to how the law was written, it doesn't only just outlaw drag performances in public, but it also has cracked down on other groups like furries. It is now illegal for children to go to furry conventions, or they're trying to crack down on furries going to furry conventions, or children going to furry conventions, even if that wasn't the intention. It has gotten silly. It's a stupid thing to run on. I don't think it's an issue that's going to motivate a general audience to vote for him. It's not something that's going to win over independents. But Ron DeSantis' main purpose right now is not in releasing stuff like this, isn't to win over independents. This isn't how he's going to campaign in the general. He wants to win over Republicans, diehard Republicans, right-wing Republicans who like Trump. And if he's going to win them over, he has to go, in his mind, to the far right of Trump or further than Trump on a lot of these issues, or try to make Trump look weak. And one of the issues that they've chosen to settle on is homosexuals, queers, and the fact that Ron DeSantis is going to crack down on them harder. Or at least that's what the message of the ad seems to be. If you're an everyday person clicking this on your Twitter feed, the message you take away from this is, man, it seems like Ron DeSantis wants to crack down on the homosexuals. And that's the message that is taken away. Whether that's the message they intended to send, it feels like the message they were intending to send. It doesn't really matter. That's the message that was taken away. But it's meant to help him win in the primary, because right now, Ron DeSantis' polling numbers are going down. A lot of people don't have a ton of confidence in his campaign anymore. He's facing a lot of issues. He's not fundraising as much as Trump is fundraising. And the political scrutiny that Trump is facing because of the legal troubles he's in has only made some parts of the Republican base like him more and want to vote for him more. And so Ron DeSantis has to do something, since he's announced he's running for president and he didn't want to sit this round out. He needs to do something to overtake him. And his message seems to be, don't worry, I'm more homophobic. I don't think this certainly isn't going to help him in the general. This is certainly going to hurt him in the general. But I don't think this is going to do a tremendous amount of damage to him in the primary. I think people like this, the I was Team DeSantis before he released his ad going against the gays, I think these people are few and far in between. But it does show what DeSantis will stoop to in order to win Donald Trump voters over, or try to win over the Republican base, win the nomination, and the type of policies that his administration would be perfectly sympathetic to once in office. He seems to want to bring back the party of the Republican Party pre-gay marriage. From the way that he's messaging right now, messages like this is more aggressive than even some of the stuff Bush said in 2000, 2004, and 2008. And that was when we were talking about a constitutional ban on gay marriage. I never saw the super base, super into it. Yeah, they say we're homophobic. Yeah, we're homophobic. I haven't seen this type of messaging before. Maybe it's just because I'm young, but Ron DeSantis seems to now be running the homophobic campaign for America, the target the queers ad, the target the queers campaign. I don't think this is going to be good for the general. Maybe it'll get him some people over in the primary, but I think the main thing this is going to earn DeSantis is scrutiny, not only from Democrats and from independents, but I've even seen some of it from others in the Republican base, like this person. I don't think, though, as some people have suggested, that it's going to be significant enough to derail his presidential ambitions. I think Donald Trump is already well on his way to derail Ron DeSantis' presidential ambitions, but I don't think this is a killer for the Republican Party, which does say something pretty negative about the Republican Party.